Welcome to the Hottest Wellness Podcast. I've got time with Cherry ShaKayla.
Here we discuss personal growth, relationships, and healing to become aligned with the best version of ourselves. Hey baby, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
How you doing?
I'm good, playing it cool, keeping it player. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to be celebrating your first official Mother's Day with you. And really to be excited and celebrating all moms, regardless of what that looks like for you. Mm-hmm. Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there and the mamas only. This ain't that holiday for dads that act like mamas, people that got two daddies instead of one mama. Mamas. That's it, mamas.
Mamas.
The pit bull in the corner, she pregnant. Shout out to the pit bull.
Shout out to the pit bull. She's been through a lot.
How do you feel though?
Being a mom?
Yeah, a lot of people don't really see you that because they don't know your real life. I feel like every day,
yeah,
you're a mother.
I feel honored. In a way, I don't know if this is a problematic thing to say, but I feel like this could possibly be more of an honor than actually having my own child, because it's
a choice.
The children are really choosing me.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, whoops, I'm pregnant. You know.
Not to say that that's everybody's situation, because we all come into motherhood in different ways. And there's a lot of moms who've never given birth to a child, whether that was because of medical necessity, whether it was because you just was blessed in your life to have a child. I have a lot of mother figures in my life that I didn't fall out their age, but they are a mother figure to me. Even some of my older friends, they are like a matriarch in my life. So it is an honor, and it's been a blessing to me to watch the natural progression of your relationship with Max and Eva unfold. It feels good that it was never forced. It was just really just as much as you was dating me, you was dating Max and Eva, and cultivating your own relationship, and having you be a part of our family. It means a lot to all of us,
Yeah.
We chose you and you chose us, so I understand what you're saying. It feels more special. I don't see how that's problematic. We all have our own stories,
I mean, I know how mothers that give birth get. They're all very extra with the fact that they gave birth to a child.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really just a projection of an insecurity that people be needing to work on themselves, because how I parent or mother or the way that I became a mother, that's my own journey. That's your own journey. It's so weird for you to reflect on your life and the value that you see in motherhood, and the first thing you do is compare to how somebody else might have got a baby, or that's crazy.
Yeah.
Please don't take this day of joy and happiness from yourself by comparing it to what's going on in other people's lives. Just be happy and peace at where you are now, whether you are a mom or a daughter. Yeah. Or a son, because that's another thing. We can only speak from a woman's experience, but I know that that's a whole nother conversation that, hopefully men are creating safe spaces to discuss.
Hopefully.
We can only encourage them, We love y'all, and we want to see the brothers win and shine and heal as well. And parents be parenting, my nigga.
Yeah.
Deadass.
Deadass. I can't hear that now without hearing Beyonce say it.
That's so funny. When she started getting too trendy, it's like, all right, no, it's time to put some Mama Tina on it. B, chill. You're getting into auntie status. We don't need to hear you. I'm gonna stop though, because I hate when people put me in auntie status. Like, I do not like that. I'm barely 33. Like, I am not an auntie.
I mean,
I
to be
feel like
fair, aunties come at different ages.
that is true. I've been an aunt
It's
since
just-
I was like 20. You know,
Yeah.
my oldest nephew is a teenager. But to me, auntie is not the same way we talking about motherhood. To me, an auntie is not just like, because I have a nephew, I'm an auntie. Like, there's wisdom in that. There is a rite of passage of saying, I'm an auntie. Like, we can go to this person for some substance, you know? And I feel like I am growing into that version of me for sure. But I'm also very comfortable where I am right now. Don't auntie me. I'm still young, cool, hot, traveling.
You're the cool, hot auntie.
Sure, whatever. I'm not, but okay. I don't want to be no auntie. I feel like
Okay.
it's a stigma there
I feel you.
for me personally.
I mean, it's definitely another way of calling somebody older, whether you mean it in a negative way or not. So I can see that.
And just with the patriarchy and everything, like, just a side note, but you know, a lot of women do have mental health issues and emotional issues surrounding aging, whether it be in a physical way, in a health way, or just your birthday another year. There's anxiety with that. There's societal pressures. There's am I completing my goals? Where am I supposed to be? It's a whole other plethora of issues that ageism adds to women that necessarily men don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Even being a mother, we have to worry about, am I getting too old to have kids? Do I need to start freezing eggs? And all kind of shit. Like,
Yeah.
so, girl, don't auntie me.
Speaking of age, real quick, just a reminder to everybody in my life, yes, my birthday is coming up. Do not ask me how old I am. If you don't know, I don't know. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I genuinely do not know. Let's just skip that part. Just celebrate me.
Facts. I really admire those people who take the age out of birthdays, because your birthday is a celebration of life. It's not a celebration of a number. And if time is not real anyways, what are we counting on?
Yeah. And I feel like it's another way, keeping track of your age is another way to trick your mind into thinking that you're not getting better. It's another way to trick your mind into thinking that your body is supposed to start breaking down and hurting and breaking. Like, it's all a mind game. And I feel like that plays a huge part in how people move in the world, because they're worried about their age, or just it's at the forefront of their mind. Who cares? Just take care of yourself and live.
It's super limiting. Fuck ageism. Yeah. Well, is there anything you wanted to get off your chest this week? Anything at all, you know, that is at the forefront of your mind? Whatever it may be.
I feel like everything that be on my mind be like just mad personal. So
It's not like, ooh, I need to. Damn.
like, I love y'all, appreciate y'all, but some stuff, you know.
Well, I feel like I'm going to just go ahead and get up off my chest I don't want to say like negativity, because it's not negativity. It's just like a lot of processing around things. And I'm learning to be more vulnerable discussing my health and things, even in my own personal life. So on the podcast, that's like a whole another level. And then broadcasting that to the internet, it's just like so scary for me.
Yeah.
Like, people who are close to me, like literally my best friends, they won't even know that I'm having health issues, because I just don't, it's not my preferred method of communication. I have Crohn's disease. I've been diagnosed since 2014. My mother had Crohn's disease, so it's something that is not only just like genetic, but it's spiritual in a sense. So it's very deep to me, and it's not something that I just willingly just be talking about with everybody, because it's a safety and a comfort in me going to somebody to express like I'm really not doing good. Because at the end of the day, I'm one of those people that like, what are you really about to do to help me? Like, realistically, you can't do anything. Most of my family and friends don't live near me. You can't come sit at my hospital bed, and I don't want you to be honest. I'm not that girl. I don't like pity parties. It's like those movies where you see people that have cancer, and I'm like not comparison at all to that. It's just like my journey with health and stuff, where it's like, it doesn't make me feel good for you to be feeling bad for me. And you can't do shit for me. When I call you and say I'm sick, what you gonna say? It's too damn bad. I'm gonna pray for you. Like, that does nothing for me at all. And so I'd rather just kind of keep that stuff private. And I save that for me and the people that I'm closest with. And the people who are closest to me after a long-term relationship, they understand how I am. They respect my boundaries about it and my feelings around it. But my health, this probably is like the most serious that not that I've taken it, that I felt like, oh my God, I'm scared about my health. You know what I mean? And so that's been overwhelming. This is like my 3rd week in the hospital. I'm like trying not to get emotional.
It's okay if you do. It's not a light topic, you know?
Yeah. And so I want to be more open and vulnerable. I want to have share space online where I'm being honest about my journey, having a chronic illness, having Crohn's disease and stuff, because there's other people that's going through the same thing I am. You know what I'm saying? And I want to share that with y'all, you know what I'm saying? But your girl's going through it, and we're pushing through as far as like the podcast and stuff go, but I wanted to be open with y'all and communicate with y'all what's going on, just in case things do change, or like the last couple of weeks we haven't had video. Like, shout out to y'all for still showing up on YouTube and watching it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And sharing our shit. So we greatly appreciate it. And I think that's all I really want to say about that this week. You know, like, your health is important. I know that my health is important, and I've made a lot of life changes just in the last 2 years to make my health better, but some stuff is totally out of your control. And so right now I'm just choosing to be present and to be grateful, and everything happens exactly how it's supposed to happen. I'm a firm believer in that. And so I appreciate y'all thoughts and prayers and well wishes while I recuperate.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. For real.
Hopefully that wasn't like as dramatic as in my mind I was like analyzing it to be, you know.
It just sounded like you were sharing, and I'm sure that everybody's going to appreciate.
Okay.
Because this is also another opportunity to just get to know you, you know?
That's true. There was a few other things that I wanted to discuss. This past week, there was some incidents that occurred online where a brand that I used to work for in the past continue to show some behaviors that show that they are not progressive, that they do not value diversity and inclusion. And ultimately what it comes down to is just a huge reflection on the adversities that Black creatives, especially anybody that is in the influencer space, and really any Black professional period, you know, we just don't be getting paid our worth. We don't be getting valued in work situations. And I feel like it was just important to kind of bring it up a little bit without going too much into detail about the brand or the partnership that was happening, but just making it a note that when Black women come out to speak about the issues that are impacting our community, it's not to shit on other people of color or women of color. We're asking you to stand with us and support with us. We're asking you to reciprocate all of the years of support that Black women have poured into all of the different marginalized communities since we began to take apart slavery. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors is responsible for that. And we deserve respect. We deserve fair payment. We deserve equity in all situations. And that's on that period. And so we're going to continue to hold conversations about this until something changes. And if you don't like it, just keep fucking scrolling and being a dick. Because what does it take away from you to support another woman in her plight? Well, what it takes away is the advantages and what am I trying to say?
Access.
The access and
proximity.
I mean, they have certain opportunities when we don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah. The last thing that I wanted to discuss and get off my chest, this is pretty cool. Y'all know I'm from Cleveland or whatever. Shout out to Cleveland 216.
What was that?
Girl, just go with it.
Okay.
If y'all are not basketball fans or sports fans at all, like, I'm not a super crazy fan, but I enjoy games. I enjoy live games, and I enjoy supporting the teams and the players that I like. And me and Cherry, we both grew up kind of like that. So
yeah,
when it come to playoffs and stuff, that type of stuff excite me because that's when the games really get exciting. That's where the competition get going. That's when you like, okay, Game 5, Game 6 is like so exciting. But I really wanted to take a moment to kind of just celebrate LeBron James because this is his 20th year in the NBA playoffs. Who is fucking with the longevity of his career? He's in a minute about to be playing with Bronny.
that is so wild. I feel like that's super exciting for him too. Like, I get to play in the league with my son.
That's like some real, like, just, I feel so good about my decisions as a parent on what I did and how he, not him, but like I'm speaking for him low key, but just like the effort that it went into his own hard work, and then also how that passed over the generational wealth to his child. And I'm not speaking financially, I'm speaking those gems, the time spent with his father watching him play, seeing his work ethic and all the hard work that went into building his career. Like, it's so valuable. It's priceless to me. And shout out to LeBron James, because not only is he an excellent player, but he do the real work in the streets when it comes down to putting that bread in the community. And I have nothing but great respect for him. I really hope that his team wins the finals this year, because I think he deserved that for a 20th year celebration, like, period.
Yeah. King James.
Period. You want to get into gratitude?
Yeah. Let's do this.
So this week for gratitude, we kind of giving y'all a 2-for-1 special or whatever. Y'all know how we do gratitude. It's just a little check-in with yourself to say, like, bitch, you doing a good job. And so in honor of Mother's Day, I wanted us to, like, kind of share one thing that we gratitude in our journey of motherhood, but also something to acknowledge our own moms, because my truth is my truth. And sometimes this is what I've learned in my own experience, that your truth may make other people feel uncomfortable. It may make them feel guilty. And I want to correct my words, because you can't make another person feel anything, but there is an impact when you have feelings and you communicate them or share them. And then other people are there's going to be a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take a moment before we really got into anything hot take and just celebrated our moms. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Celebrate, celebrate.
So can you share one thing that you want to celebrate about yourself?
About myself?
Yes, as a mama?
Well, I would like to pat myself on the back and acknowledge the personal growth that being a mother has required of me. One of my friends, shout out Cam, we had a conversation about it before, just about being a parent and how you learn so much about yourself. Actually, that might have been one, I don't know. One of them.
Shout out to both of them, though,
Yeah.
for real, for holding us down, period.
Shout out.
P.O.P. hold it down.
What was I saying? Basically, shout out to my personal growth and my continued desire to become better so I can be a better example and communicate better with Max and Eva.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely doing an amazing job. I've watched how your patience has developed, your communication skills, and really just your willingness. What am I saying? Your willingness to understand them on a personal level. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what relationships is. I think that's why we learn so much about ourselves, is because that's like your kids is your biggest reflection of who you are. Every day I talk to Max and Eva and I see me, I hear me. Like, when I started to realize that I was going down a bad mom rabbit hole, and I use that very loosely because I feel like there is some shit that make you a bad mom, but I think all moms have room to grow. But when I realized that I was repeating behaviors from my own childhood that I did not appreciate from my own mom, I was like, girl, you got to make a change. And so I feel really grateful for each day having an opportunity to continue to be a better mom, and really the friendship that I have cultivated with my kids. Like, them is my homies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when I look at Max and Eva, I know that they're going to be my lifelong friend, and I'm grateful for the choices that I made to become the version of myself that created that safe and healthy environment for them. So shout out to me.
Shout out to you. Insert audience clap.
So what would you like to share about your mom today on her special day? Happy Mother's Day to your mom, by the way.
Happy Mother's Day, Miss Courtney. Shout out. Well, shout out to her for always being an example for serving others. Throughout my life growing up, well, even now, throughout my life, I've watched her take care of people by herself. And like, even when it's challenging, just doing it anyway because it's the right thing to do. The quickest example I can think of is, it sounded like I didn't put an EX on that word. The quickest example I can think of is my Aunt Emily. She took care of her for years, did so much. And it was a time. I could tell in the moment that it was a lot on her, and nobody was really helping, but she was doing it anyways. Like, she made it a point to spend time with her, to take her out, to make sure she was being treated right once she ended up in a nursing home. Like, that really meant a lot, seeing her do that. And also witnessing the other people, like, just being aware of the whole situation and just, yeah. She was a good example for being of service despite, I don't know, other resources, I guess.
Or obstacles in her life.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's something that you learn from her, and it's a very admirable quality. Because you don't even recognize how much of yourself that you be giving to other people. I have to sometimes, like, check you, like, girl, what about you though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just can imagine your mom is the exact same way, but I also feel like you're such a light to people. Like, it's definitely a learned behavior. So shout out to your mom.
Yeah. I witnessed her do that a lot in my life. And not just for family, for, like, her students. You've, like, briefly heard about it, but she had some students that she would, like, bring home because they had situations going on, and they would just stay with us for a while. Yeah. Shout out to her.
Shout outs.
Well, what about you?
Well, I've shared this on a podcast previously, but my mom passed away in 2014. Gathering.
Take your time, baby.
So, one thing about my mom is that she was really true to herself, and that is just something that, a quality that lives through me every day, and that I have learned to grow into as well. A lot of people had opinions about my mother until the day she died. A lot of people have opinions about her now. You know, when you pass on, the conversations don't stop. The experiences people share with you, they don't forget them. And so even though she's not physically here, her life is still being shared, you know. And she was just a really great example of being a free spirit and showing up, just being her regardless of how people judged her, or even all of the trauma that she experienced. Now that I'm a mother, and I can recognize the things that she was going through, while simultaneously trying to navigate being a mom to me and my siblings. And so shout out to my mom. I am really grateful for her being an example of what it means to truly show up as your full self, regardless of what other people may think or how they perceive you at the end of the day. Because do you even know me?
Nobody really knows anybody.
So yeah,
Shout out to her.
shout out to my mom, and happy Mother's Day in heaven. Not that I really subscribe to heaven or hell, but that's neither here nor there.
Girl, happy Mother's Day.
She be around, okay? Well, of course, this week, like we said, we're talking about Mother's Day, so we're going to get right into the main topic. Whoo, baby.
Tu madre.
What do you feel like your experience is? How are you perceiving motherhood as an entity now that you are a mom?
Motherhood is exhausting.
It's never ending. It's 24/7. Like, it literally will never stop. up until, even if, you know, like my mom's gone, but she's still my grandmother's daughter. You know, she ain't here, but
Your daughter's grandmother.
the grandma, the baby. She's still a child of somebody else. You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. That's gonna be my bad.
So it's like being able to see the different levels of her as my mother, but her also as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And then reflecting that on myself, who I am as a person, but also who I am as Max and Eva's mom. And it took some time for me to realize that I'm still ShaKayla. And being mom, that's just part of ShaKayla.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a separate identity. I don't have to be anybody different. I could still live my life to the fullest capacity and be an example to our kids and saying, like, this is who your mom is. Like, I'm going to stand up and be 60 years old and my kids going to know who the real me was. They're not going to ever wonder, like, oh, who was my mom when she was 20, or what was the experience that she had, because I'm so open and so comfortable. And like I said, them is my homies. So
yeah, I wish that I kind of had that with my mom. Just the whole, like, really knowing who she was in every stage. Like, I've asked questions and stuff just to kind of get her to share the tea. I mean, she shared some things, but specifically being her child, it was like, I guess the more traditional way of parenting. Just,
I'm not one of your little friends.
I'm not one of your little friends. I'm not about to treat you like one of your little friends. You know, I'm your parent. So what I show you is what I want you to see and who I want you to be. But not like, let me show you who I am or who I've been necessarily.
I don't really like that, and I try not to be judgmental of parents who are like that, because I know that whatever experience that they had led them to feel that way. But I just feel like you're not being honest with yourself. You're not keeping it real with your star player, because all the experiences that you've had is what created who you are today. All of your beliefs and the little things that happened to you, and when I was 25 I got dumped and it changed my life or something. Those little conversations matter with our kids, because when they're figuring stuff out, it feels like you're totally alone. But if you've already been building that relationship up, like Eva's gonna be 15 and be like, I'm having issues with some of my friends, and I'm gonna know exactly how to connect with her and reach her, you know what I mean? And it's not gonna feel hypocritical, like I'm do as I say and not as I do, because I want my kids to know that I made a ton of mistakes, so they can know that it's okay to make mistakes and it's normal. And really, what are mistakes but learning lessons anyways? That's how I want my kids to move through adulthood, and I hope that we're supporting them in that way. I think that we are. But it's definitely something I feel like, just from the perspective of me being a child in relationship with an adult mother versus now me being the adult mother and having children. So I want our relationship to naturally change. Like, at one point I was their sole care provider. They needed me for all of their sustenance, but then our relationship changes. And at one point they're gonna need me for something totally different. At another point they're gonna need me to mind my goddamn business, and I need to be present in that. And so that's what I create space for as a mom, being a child of a mother.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, she did share things, but like, now that I'm thinking about like the sharing, I feel like it was more like sharing. It was sharing, hoping that we would pick up the lesson from it. but I kind of feel like it was more like sharing to deter us from something.
Like a method of controlling, or I would even go as far to say manipulation. And I'm not saying that's intentional, or nor am I saying that for your specific mom. This is just in generalization of parenting, in my opinion on it, really.
Yeah. Shout out to some of those stories, though.
Are you ready to like spill some tea though? The mom tea's hot. My tea's kind of cold now, but ASMR.
Shout out to them. Okay, all right.
Oh, I secretly wanted the ASMR page. That's neither here nor there. I wanted to discuss a little bit about my relationship with my mom. Obviously, our relationship with our moms are very different because mine's is dead and yours ain't. And I know that some people, I'm so comfortable with death, so please don't take what I'm saying personally, or like I'm being insensitive to my mom's death or anybody else's mama death or anybody else, period. My relationship with death is a transition. I don't speak of it like it's sad or I'm losing something. I very much still feel connected to my mom, honestly, more than I ever did when she was alive, because I'm different now. I'm seeing things that was happening in my childhood that my immaturity and lack of experience, and also her shielding me from certain things, did not allow me to see, which I'm very grateful for in the aspect.
Yeah.
Even though I could have been covered a little more. Where was the prayer cloth?
Did you want the prayer cloth?
Not in a prayer cloth sense, but in a, there are certain things we protect Max and Eva from. And I feel like at certain stages, as they mature, that information should be revealed to them slowly. And of course, things that we can't control, like what they learn at school or with their friends or from a show. But for the most part, I genuinely like to have a covering over my children. They don't be on Instagram. My kids ain't gonna be no TikTok kids. They don't have cell phones. It's certain shit we just have that is for me, and my safety and security for my kids is a reflection of what I did not have growing up. And I wished I got a little more of that, is what I'm saying.
I feel that.
Not the policing tone or nothing like that, but I got enough of that trust. What can I say about my relationship with my mother? As a child, I had very little respect for my mom. I loved her and I cared for her as my mother, but because there was a lot of things that I didn't know about her until after she passed away, my perception of her was skewed, and also the experience that we shared together just was not healthy. And so I've had a lot of healing to do on my own without her here. And so I have a unique experience that some people don't have, with their mom. And so my relationship with her was very toxic. It was very turbulent. It was a lot of projecting going on. It was a lot of my mom trying to protect me from things that she experienced, but without disclosing what those things was. So it just felt like I was being smothered and controlled and abused. And I was being abused. I grew up in a very abusive environment, specifically regarding my mother. I could talk about other stuff, but today we on moms only. Okay? And so by the time that I got to a teenage age, I just didn't like my mom. I didn't like her as a person. I thought she was a bad mom. And I honestly felt like I could do without it. It was like one of those things, where people say you don't know what you have until it's gone. That is my sentiment of me and my mother's relationship now, because I didn't have all the nuances and complexities and the truths that I did now that will allow me to see her as a full person. And so our relationship was not good. It was not healthy. when she died, I felt sad that I lost my mother, but not, I feel like, in the capacity that other people would.
Yeah.
And so that really does speak to the trauma that I incurred in that relationship.
Dang. I'm sorry you went through that.
But it was all necessary and a part of who I am now, and I'm not sorry for it. And I don't want you to be sorry for it either.
Okay.
How do you feel about your relationship with your mom?
Well, that's my BG. I want to start off with love and care. I feel like our relationship is more proximity based. When we're around each other all the time, every day, we're really cool. We get along. It's a fun time. When I say that, I specifically think back to high school, because she taught at my high school. We were around each other all day, every day. That was my nigga.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not near her, it's not that we have a bad relationship. It's just kind of like we don't really have like a real relationship. Like when I'm not...
Or you feel like the connection somehow is just not what it should be? Does it feel more surface level? I'm sorry, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I just would like to understand what you mean.
It's definitely surface level. When we're not in the same place, it's very obvious to me that we have a very surface level relationship. It feels like it's more than that when we're together, because we're just having fun and appreciating each other and supporting each other in some way. Unless, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for those of you that don't know, unless my life is not progressing in the way that she thinks that it should. That would be definitely my closer adulthood years. Specifically 2020 to the present. We can have that conversation another time.
Okay.
But yeah, when we're not together in the same place, it's like, oh, we don't have anything to talk about outside of, hey, what you doing? How was your day? Like, that's really it. And it really makes me sad.
Would you say you would change that about your relationship with your mom? Or is it something else that you would change?
I would change that. I would change... If I could change her from looking at herself as just my mother, that would help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if she saw me as a friend, she would have more grace and more understanding. And yeah, the biggest thing for me is understanding and trust. For some reason, my mother has never trusted me. And I can say that with confidence because I actually asked her. And she didn't have a reason. She just didn't trust me.
What is the reason?
Yeah. Well, she had a reason. it wasn't a valid reason. Her reason for not trusting me, she said, was basically because I didn't tell her everything.
Which is something that is built over time based off of literal trust and connection.
Yeah. And I shared with you one time, I can go back to one specific moment in my childhood where that trust was lost. So, yeah. I don't think that can ever really come back, especially after years of experiencing our relationship. But yeah, I would like to have more than a parent from her, but that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? How was your day? What you doing? Oh, okay. Well, I just called to say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that. When it comes to my relationship with my mom, the only thing that I really would change at this point, I mean, I guess it's just her still being here, because I just feel like there's so many opportunities that we never got. You know what I'm saying? Mainly, my reasoning is for the kids. I was like 13 weeks pregnant when my mom passed away. So Eva's never met my mom, even though she know her spiritually. She talk about her. She ask a lot of questions about her. I talk about her all the time. They look like my mom. She lives through them, but they'll never know her as a grandmother, which is a different relationship, because I know from my relationship with my grandma, who my mom and my grandmother and their relationship was, my mom probably felt the exact same way about her mom that I did about her when I was in my adolescent years. But my grandmother's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so the relationship that I got with my grandmother is not the relationship she had with her own child. And so I feel like both my kids and my mom was deprived of that opportunity to have that relationship. Like, they have an amazing grandmother. Their dad's mom is the best grandma I could ask for, honestly. She don't miss a beat when it comes to anything.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Literally, shout out to my mother-in-law. Like, she is just, that's another thing too, who my relationship is with her. I'm very close to her, and I don't understand her relationship with her own kids, but that's because I'm not her kid. My relationship with her is built on something totally different. You know what I mean? And so even with my kid's dad, he got a different relationship with his mom than I got with his mom.
Yeah.
Like, she came here every single day to see me at the hospital. She was bringing my kids every single day. I didn't ask her. Even us being able to smoothly transition to move here to Illinois from Virginia was because of her.
Yeah.
And I have so much, a great deal of respect for my kids' grandma, and just love and compassion for her. And like, my kids is not missing a beat as far as they miss their grandma, but I wish that was something that they had. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Especially when I just think about in relation to my relationship with my father and my stepmom. They'll never get a grandma out of her. She ain't my kid's grandma.
Yeah.
But I am blessed in the fact that, you know, they do have David's mom. So, I honestly, you know how I feel about her. Like, it's nothing I can say. And even y'all have your own relationship now. The compassion and respect that she meet our relationship, even if, who knows, her own ideals might not agree with our lifestyle, she always met us with so much unconditional love and respect. She genuinely care about you as a person, and she don't have to. You're not related to her at all, Cherry. Like, at all. But she genuinely fuck with you. She genuinely care and have concern for you and admire you and take the time to get to know you as a person. Like, she's that girl.
What you're not about to do is make me cry on this episode.
I'm not trying to make you cry. I'm just saying that the family that we have created and cultivated, like, is just such a blessing. And this is kind of a sidetrack, but if you don't find this kind of relationship with your own mom, girl, it's other mamas out there that'll love on you. It's
fact.
other mamas that will accept you for who you are, even if they don't agree with you. It's other moms that will trust your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's no shade to our biological parents, but just know that if you need love and if you need healing and you need that maternal care, you can get it out there. You just have to be open to receive it. Like, for real.
I just want to insert, shout out Miss LaShonda. I love you, girl.
Is that Twan's mom?
Yes.
Shout out to her. I only met her like 1.5 times, but her spirit is so beautiful inside and out.
She's great.
And I especially want to send so much love to her on this day.
I love you, LaShonda.
We love you, girl. So we can kind of slide into mental health matters, which we were already, I guess, like one topic of. But really, mental health matters this week. We just want to focus on like healing those mommy issues, because it'd be like, what is mom trauma? But we all be having it. Like, no matter how you identify, you don't go through your childhood unscathed. Even if you didn't have a very traumatic, even if you wasn't being physically abused, we all incur some kind of trauma that changes our perspectives and our beliefs and the way that we parent our kids, the way that we parent ourselves, and even navigate adulthood. You know what I'm saying? And so for mental health matters this week, I wanted to encourage y'all to focus on reparenting yourself, because sometimes you won't get that from your parent. You ain't gonna get that from your mom. Like, sometimes your mom not who you wish they could be in each moment.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. Like, having acceptance for who my mom was has brought me a lot of peace. Being able to see her as Angie and not as my mom has brought me a lot of peace. Mm-hmm. Because she had her own shit going on. She was going through a severe amount of trauma trying to figure out how to be a mom. She was not even had the tools and skills because of her own parents not having the tools and skills. And that's on some systematic shit that goes back to slavery. You know what I mean? Black people, our black families, everything. We can have trauma. And we can't avoid and ignore it and say, well, this is just how my relationship is with my parents. But you can have acceptance for it and make peace with it. And unlearn the behaviors that you don't want to be you no more. If you start seeing yourself and like, I'm acting like my mom and I don't like that, you have the power to change that.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it.
While you were saying that, it made me think about my mom's relationship with her mom. I do just want to say, she probably will never listen to this, but I do just want to say, Mom, shout out to you for still being a better mother than your mother. I mean, Virginia's cool. But
and I feel like that takes a lot to say and to show that acknowledgement of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she's a person too. And so all the things that we think that they're, you know, pushing down on us was already pushed down on them. Yeah. And y'all know how spiritual I am, so it's like that stuff is genetic. It's in your DNA. The experiences that I'm having, not only did my mom have those experiences, it's karmic. Her mom was having those experiences. My great-grandmother was having those experiences. And the more that I learn about my family's history, the more I see the cycles play out, whether it be issues with money, whether it be relationship issues, whether it be the lack of self-love, whether it be physical and emotional abuse cycles. I mean, we be having shit going on in our families, and we be kind of like in our own experience perceiving it like, why is this stuff happening to me, not realizing that like it's been happening though in your family, and like maybe the way your mom is the reason she is because of the shit that was happening to her too. You just wasn't there to see it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's what they say, the revolution will not be televised. Like, that's what they mean. You never really know, but you can feel it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Did you want to add anything for mental health matters? Do you have any mental health tips for navigating relationship and healing mommy issues?
I don't know if I can give anybody any tips. I have mommy issues the way that people have daddy issues. The perspective of women having daddy issues, those were my mommy issues. Like, once I realized that I was dating people that was like my mother, it was like, whoa, what's happening? Yeah.
I'll say a couple things I feel like that is key for your own mental health. One is prioritizing your own needs. You gotta put you first, Lucius, and sometimes that might feel like you're being selfish in a relationship with your mom, or they not gonna understand when you putting in certain boundaries and stuff because they didn't have the tools to do it themselves. So they like, you're disrespecting me, but you're really just respecting yourself. Having healthy boundaries, communicating healthily if you can and when you can, because it's a two-way street, and putting yourself first, for sure. That's what I would say. Do that. Yeah.
Those are good. I co-sign that.
Well, if you are ready, and hopefully we can, close up the mom.com conversation tonight, we can slide into For Us By Us, which is our segment where we discuss the issues or even celebrate Blackness and everything that comes with that. This week, we wanted to give y'all an update. It's been some time that we talked about the whole TD Jakes project development that was supposed to be getting started in that Tyler Perry Studios area. Well, TD Jakes Group and Wells Fargo has recently announced a 10-year, $1 billion partnership to build inclusive communities. This is very scary to me. I'm not gonna lie.
How come?
The first thing is when we look at Wells Fargo as an entity and the history that they have with institutionalized racism, slavery, the prison industrial complex, redlining. I could honestly go into a mind map of Wells Fargo and its history in destructing the black community. Why would you collaborate with a known for hundreds of years corporation that is known for destructing the black community to try and build us up? To me, it sounds like what I originally said was a money grab. They're willing to invest, in air quotes, like I said, $1 billion into our communities. How is this really going to help us? Because when it comes down to Wells Fargo, we already know what their history is within our community. And I don't trust it. I think it's weird as hell. $10 billion whole dollars over 10 years.
That's a lot of money.
In a short amount of time. We look at 10 years and think that's not so long, but they'll put a housing project together in 2 years.
Right.
And so where's that $10 billion going? And why are we trusting Wells Fargo with this opportunity? Why are we not building with black institutions?
Well, that's where, to me, it starts to become more understandable. There are black institutions, but can they offer the same, He wouldn't be able to do $10 billion,
Right, but then
partnership with a black institution.
That's why we have to come together, though, as a community, because the black community got $10 billion. We got more than $10 billion circulating. But people don't put money in this. They put money to make money. They're not thinking of the investment in our communities as far as educational opportunities, health benefits, just the actual safety, mental health resources. They're not thinking about investment that way. They're thinking about investment of what can they get back from putting this $10 billion out. And why would you start something like that with somebody that already, we're not even going to say a rocky past. It's not rocky. It's concrete. None of this stuff that I'm saying, it's all cited information. Y'all can get online and Google right now, Wells Fargo slave trade, Wells Fargo redlining. Like, I'm not making up none of this stuff or exaggerating it. Mm-hmm. And to me, this is ridiculous. It makes me side eye TD Jakes. Not that I haven't already. That's just my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. It makes me side eye the Christian institution as a whole, because we all know that for a lot of times it be about money for them, even though it's supposed to be a nonprofit organization. And that's a whole nother thing, getting into nonprofits. But I don't like it.
Well,
I don't like it, and I won't be supporting it.
If this is a partnership between TD Jakes, the individual, and not TD Jakes, the company or brand, which it probably is.
It is. It's TD Jakes Group, but when does the lines blur? You know what I mean?
I completely understand and agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, you mentioned like being able to partner with a black institution, which it would be great. I don't know if he's doing this, but it would be great if he also was partnering with black banks, black groups, black companies for this project, which
could bring money
could be
to
included
individuals
in the partnership. But at the same time, it's still to build the community. I'm assuming it's going to be a large community. He still would need that money. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, right now, he would not be able to get that amount of money for that. Like, he wouldn't be able to get that type of investment from a black institution.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, nor do I pretend to be. I just feel like this is an unhealthy starting point. And I feel like Wells Fargo, they need to be talking about restitution and reparations. And this is not it, making more money off of black people. Because at the end of the day, it's not just a housing complex. They're going to have stores and shops, and all of this stuff is going to generate income for them. This is a business opportunity. Mm-hmm. This is not an investment into our communities. And that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. They're just using, this is just another lane for them to get more money out of black people. That $10 billion, why do you think they're so easy to invest it? It's nothing to them. You know how much $10 billions they owe black people? I'm going to stop there because, I'm going to start getting even more riled up, and I don't need to go there. I'm already stressed. So, on to black businesses and corporations that are building up our communities. Mm-hmm. I wanted to discuss a new merger between 3 brands. They are black tech companies called Stimuli, which is black and woman owned, who also merged with Infinity Careers and Opti. And they are now creating tools and navigation resources for students who are hoping to succeed in today's economy and work specifically regarding to ed tech. So if you are in that type of space, they are, working together so that they can create work resources for more people. Tech is huge right now. It's only continuing to grow. We know that every day it becomes bigger. Mm-hmm. And shout out to them for saying we might not have the money individually, but if we pool our resources together, we can make it happen. So shout out to those 3 brands. Well, I don't want to call them brands, but corporations. Companies, yeah. Yeah, companies.
Shout out.
Period. We can move into Religion. This week, we're going to start off a little bit dramatic, and then we can slide into the lights once again.
The drams.
I don't know if you guys have seen the clips from the show surfacing on TikTok and YouTube called Deconstructing Karen. It's hosted by 2 women of color, one which is an Indian woman, which is a black woman, and it's hosted like on a network in Canada. Canada. Who am I singing right now? I hate that. I hope it ain't nobody problematic.
It sounds like a remix for Panda.
No, it's not that at all. You know, I'd be totally offbeat. It's not that song at all. So Deconstructing Karen started out as a book where, you know, these women decided that they wanted to help educate and evolve white women to be more diverse and inclusive, and honestly to deconstruct inherent racism. All white people are inherently racist. That's not no shade against you. We're not calling you a blatantly racist person. But because of the history of America, you can't help but to think your ideas, your beliefs is rooted in racism, okay? And part of walking in sisterhood with women of color is releasing some of these behaviors and thoughts and ideas and seeing yourself as an equal to us. And so that's what the show does. They host a brunch or a dinner. They invite a whole table of white women, and the first question they ask is, are you racist?
I think it's hilarious.
I think that it's hilarious. I've looked at some threads like on Reddit, and the way white people are reacting to this is very white. They are on the defense and the attack. They don't want to be called racist. They don't want to acknowledge any of the behaviors that they do on a daily basis, from microaggressions to the inequities in pay, everything that we could go on that racism just generally is in our daily lives. You know, even just thinking that a black person is inherently dangerous to you, like, that's racist, dude. And so they don't like being held accountable in those spaces, and we know that a lot of white women, soon as that they start to feel any amount of guilt or sense that they have to take accountability for racism on a personal level, the tears come out. All of a sudden, it's a personal attack against them and not the institution of racism.
And even if it is a personal attack against you, don't nobody care about you crying. Because you're crying to get out of it. This is something that comes from your childhood. Like,
and it's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing. White women single-handedly are responsible for countless deaths of black men and children just alone from calling the police. The fact that Karen is now a defined term in Webster's dictionary, saying like an inherently racist white woman, this is our real life. We're not making up these experiences. They're not going to go away because we stopped talking about them. Y'all got to learn today.
Yeah.
Because the next thing is going to be you being at the gas station calling somebody the hard ER and your ass is getting mollywopped on the floor thinking that that can't be you. Every black person is not evolved enough to say these things are not bothering me enough to care, or enough to not talk about it, or every black person don't have the privilege of avoiding and ignoring racism on a daily basis. And then when you meet me with that bullshit, I don't have it today. Not for a simple tear, not for a complaint, not for you to project your insecurities of being not all that blackness is on me. None of it. I've had it up to here with white
Figure it
bitches.
out.
And so I love the show.
Mm-hmm.
Hold these girls accountable. Get them in the room together and make them see themselves. And if they can't see it within themselves, when they watch it back, when other white women watch it back, I hope that there's progression from this. And that's why I really see value on the show, and I wanted to bring it up on the podcast.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is going to be the last part you said, seeing themselves. I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing to change their mind.
And we're going to need the people that comes out with the capes and the heroes, whether you're a black one, a man, a cis hetero man, because we all know that white women have the most protection to anybody, for real.
Yeah.
We need y'all to just shut the fuck up and let black women speak, okay? Period. We don't need y'all coming in here putting on the cape and saying about how we need to also take accountability. This ain't about us. This is only about recognizing the issue of what inherent racism is and deconstructing it, and so that we can grow into a society and create a society that has equity not only for black women, all women of color, all women, period, all people, and all marginalized groups. Because we like to think, oh, this is just only impacting me as a black woman, but then I'm also a gay woman. I'm also this and that and that, and then next thing you know, all these things are stacked up against you, and life feels way harder than it have to be. Like, having difficulties in life, having a proximity to blackness does not make you less racist. Having black kids or grandkids don't make you less racist.
Mm-hmm.
Volunteering and giving back money don't make you less racist.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, who are you choosing to be? Do you even got a black friend? Do you even know any black people? Have you ever took the time to genuinely just get to know one of us?
Of course not.
You probably racist. That's just that. And don't be mad when we call a spade a spade. But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, Disney Channel has been making a lot of moves, you know what I'm saying? I feel like they're trying to be more inclusive these days. We're not sure if it's just marketing or if they're genuinely trying to be more inclusive. Either way, I'm open to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they got some black writers, as long as they're elevating black voices and celebrating us.
Mm-hmm.
2 shows that came out recently, Disney dropped. One of them is called Saturdays. It's a live action show. They got Maya from Girlfriends in there. A few recognizable people like Yo-Yo. She was a 90s rapper. And it's essentially about 3 black girls who are skaters, roller skaters. And it's, we watched the episode. I might not go back.
It's not bad. I think it's cute. It's cool.
It's like a corny little show.
Yeah.
It's not impactful.
Yeah.
In my eyes. But it's a cute relief of just black joy. And if that's what you're looking for, I recommend it.
I think it might be good for learning how to navigate self and decisions and boundaries based on the episodes we saw.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good for the little ones.
Definitely.
But not too little because they just won't get it. But y'all know what I mean.
Like coming of age. Like a good like...
Preteen.
Yeah, preteen. For sure. Yeah, definitely. And of course they have like, you know, natural hair and highlighting just things about blackness that we all love and enjoy and take a part of. So I thought that was dope. But I gotta be honest, I'm really, really excited about the Marvel collaboration that Disney is doing. It's called Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Mm-hmm. I love this show.
Yeah, that show's pretty hot.
I will watch this with or without my kids. I'm gonna watch every episode of the season.
Yeah.
I love this show. What did you like about it?
The dinosaur is my favorite character.
It would be.
I like the humor in the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's and the dialect. It's very natural. It doesn't sound like they're trying to make anybody sound black.
Yeah, you can tell that it's just natural. You can tell they got some black writers on the team, period.
Yeah.
It's not like when you watch something or whatever and you could tell that the people don't actually like speak from that dialect.
Mm-hmm.
It's like take place in like New York. And it celebrates not only just black culture but Hispanic culture as well.
Mm-hmm.
In New York, which I thought was super cool. It celebrated her natural hair. Also, the girl's a damn genius, okay? And so that's super amazing, just being able to see that black girl magic.
Mm-hmm.
And just really, truly a good representation of, like, being a young African-American girl. Like, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was cute. The jokes was funny, but then there was moments of, like, callback and education, like, at one point, the grandma's like, well, I mean, the Avengers, they don't go past 14th Street. Like, exactly, grandma. So I just felt like it was a very realistic representation, and I'm here for it. I'm going to be tuning in.
Yeah. I do I wish, I don't know if they get shorter, but I wish the episodes were not
So lengthy.
so long.
We did watch the pilot episode, and so I told you, me and Max watched one episode last week, and it felt like 15 minutes. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely wasn't like the one we had just watched. So.
Okay, because, girl, I
think if they're
was just
30-minute
tired,
episodes or
too.
25 minutes, because you know they make time for a commercial
Yeah.
break. But and the main character, her name's Lunella Lafayette. And y'all know how I am about the moon cycles. It was all so much for me. Like,
yeah.
I loved it. Okay, but I just have one last question for you this week.
What's up?
What are you making time for?
Bravery.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you
Elaborate?
yeah.
Well, being brave when it comes to sharing my feelings and setting boundaries. More so in sharing my thoughts and feelings. It's really challenging for me. It makes me uncomfortable. So, yeah.
Well, I support your intention, and if there's anything that I can do, please let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love to see you grow.
Thanks. What you making time for?
Honestly, I'm just going to make time to continue to be present in the moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When stuff like health issues arise, the easiest thing to do is to spill into what if or what not, and how come, why me.
Yeah.
And it feels so much better to be present. Like, I have so much things to look forward to and to be happy and grateful for right now. Why even go down there? So this week I just want to continue to be present and just grateful. Like, I'm so grateful right now.
I'm glad.
Yeah, me too, girl. It's been a long, hard journey. Well, without further ado,
I've got time.